We have discussed what is a company, and we know that a company has common stock called the share capital. Let us discuss in further detail what is the meaning of share capital, its kinds, and its nature and classes. We saw that businesses have to raise capital. For example, in partnership firms, the partners bring in the capital. In sole proprietorships, the proprietors bring in the capital. However, in the case of a company, we saw that company is just an artificial legal person. So, a company cannot itself generate its capital. So, what is done is the capital of a company is collected from many persons by dividing the amount of total capital into smaller units, which can be contributed by the person who are interested to invest. These smaller units into which the capital of a company is broken into are called as shares. And the persons who contribute to the capital by investing in these shares are called the shareholders. All these shares put together form the share capital of a company. When a person becomes a shareholder by purchasing a share of a company, it means he holds a portion of the share capital of the company. So, a share represents the ownership of the company, and the shareholders are the owners of the company. However, unlike in the case of partnership firms, the number of shareholders is very huge and also very scattered. Each and every shareholder cannot be able to participate in the everyday affairs of the company. So, a separate capital account cannot be opened for each and every shareholder the way in which we open a distinct capital account for each partner. And so, all the contributions by the shareholders towards the share capital of a company is accounted for in a single common account called the share capital account, which merges the identities of all the shareholders within it. Here is a representation of the various categories of share capital of a company. We will just see the representation in brief and then discuss each of these categories in detail. Here, firstly, there is authorized capital, which is this large yellow box, which is the maximum capital that a company is authorized to issue. Within it, we can see issued capital and unissued capital in the two white boxes. This shows within the authorized capital how much capital has the company issued for subscription and how much is left unissued as yet. Further, within the issued capital, we can see the subscribed capital, which is the gray box. In practicality, the subscribed capital can either be more than the issued capital or less than the issued capital or equal to the issued capital due to scenarios called oversubscription, undersubscription, and full subscription. Within the subscribed capital, there is called up capital and uncalled capital. This means out of the shares subscribed for, the company calls up for the payment for the value of shares in installments like application, allotment, and share calls. The portion which has been called up by the company for payment by the shareholders is called the called up capital. The portion that has not yet been called up for payment is called the uncalled capital. The amount within the called up capital for which payment has been received from the shareholders is called the paid up capital, and the unpaid amount from the called up capital is called the calls in arrears. That is, company has called up such capital but the shareholders have not made any payment. Paid up capital is called up capital minus the calls in arrears. A portion reserved in the uncalled capital to be called up at the time of winding up of the company is called the reserve capital. Here we can see what the different categories of the share capital of a company mean. The authorized capital is the maximum amount of share capital which a company is authorized to issue by its memorandum of association. The part of the authorized capital that is issued to the public for subscription is called the issued capital. when a company issues shares to vendors of asset instead of paying in cash, or when a company issues shares to its signatories, then such shares also form a part of the issued share capital. The part of the authorized capital which is not offered for the public subscription is called the unissued capital. Out of the issued capital, the portion that is actually subscribed for by the public is called the subscribed capital. Once the subscribers subscribe for the share capital of a company, the company calls up for payment of the value of shares in installments. Such portion of the subscribed capital that is called up by the company for payment from the shareholders is called the called up capital. On the other hand, the portion yet to be called is the uncalled capital. Out of the capital that is called up for payment by the company, the portion which has actually been paid for by the shareholders constitutes the paid up capital. The difference between the called up capital and the paid up capital is the value of calls in arrears. Out of the value of the uncalled capital, a portion is kept as a reserve to be called only in the event of winding up of the company. This portion is called the reserve capital. Here we can see the two types of classes of shares. One type is the preference shares and the other type is the equity shares. Preference shares are those shares that give a preferential right to the shareholders of the preference shares at the time of payment of dividends and repayment of capital at the time of winding up of the company. Generally, preference shareholders do not enjoy voting rights but get an assured preferential dividend which is at a fixed rate. Preference shares can be classified as either participating or non participating preference shares, cumulative or non cumulative preference shares, and redeemable or irredeemable preference shares. On the other hand, equity shares are those which do not enjoy a preferential right for the payment of dividend or repayment of capital. The dividends received by the equity shareholders fluctuate from year to year as it is dependent on the availability of distributable profits. However, the equity shares carry voting rights. We saw that there are various types of preference shares. Now, let us discuss each of these types. The participating preference shares are the ones whose holders have a right to participate in the surplus profits and avail additional dividend in addition to the fixed rate of dividend. The non participating preference shareholders, however, cannot participate in the excess profits earned by the company. Next, the cumulative preference shares are the ones where if there is any arrears of dividends, then such shareholders are entitled to get their arrears of dividends of the previous years in addition to the current year dividend. However, the shareholders of non-cumulative preference shares are not entitled to get any dividend arrears from the previous years. Redeemable preference shares are the ones that are issued on a condition that the value of such shares will be redeemed to the shareholders after a fixed period at a future date. On the other hand, the irredeemable preference shares do not carry any conditions regarding their redemption, but they enjoy a preference over the equity shares in respect of payment of dividends and repayment of capital.